The recording is on. So where is my report? So in the last class, we have probably seen most of the calculated field functions. I mean, the simple ones at least. We have covered all the simple calc field functions like all our arithmetic calculations, date, bill dates, concatenate text, all the calculations related to text, number, date, uh, as well. So date constant, date difference. We have looked at format date, format number, format text, increment, decrement date, numeric constant, text constant, text length, right? So those are pretty simple. And I mean, if you guys have questions on it, just feel free to ask. No worries. We can go through any one of it once again pretty quickly. Or else let's get going with the rest of the important calculator fields at least. I'm gonna cover most of them, but some I never used it. We can try them out, and we'll learn them together because you don't use all of the calculus all the time, right? So it depends on your requirement and what your particular function is. So that's how I prioritize my class as well. So the next thing we look at is true or false condition. Okay, creating a true or false condition. This is like a Boolean thing. Coworker worker termination date. Here. What I'm going to do is, if a worker has, or let's say, a job profile. Job profile here. So what I'm going to do is true or false condition. Returns a Boolean field indicating if the condition is true or false. So all it does is when I sorry. So it evaluates the calculated field function. That means it evaluates the field operator and the comparison value, whatever it is comparing. And if the field is matching the values that you're comparing, you're technically the calculated field will return it true. If the field doesn't match, the calculated field returns a false. Right? Let's say in this case, I want to pick some job profiles and I want to give true or false on the job profile for the specific worker in the selection list. I would say job profile 2. Let's say I just pick all these clinical and administrative job profiles and all the administrative job profiles. I'm going to pick everything administrative. And let's say if anyone is part of any of these administrative job profiles in our thing, right? So what you can do is you can use this calculated field. This calculated field always returns true when a worker's job profile is any of these 18. Quickly go back to my report. Quickly go back to my report, just edit it. Let's add the job profile in there and let's click it out. Okay, I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna put as class 2, so you have reference to all the previous calculations. Or part 2. Copy. Part 2. In this, I don't want any of this. So I'm going to look for the calculate. I just want to see what that value is. So I'm going to click OK. If you're not speaking, can you mute yourself? Okay. So president is not one of the administrative job profiles that we have picked, right? So everything is blank, but you see an S here, executive secretary. It probably falls within our job profiles that we have picked, executive secretary, right? So we have only one, luckily. Okay, at least one. So we have 1 out of 27. Why? Do we have a filter? We're only getting active state. Oh, we're only getting inactive. Nope, that's not right. Let's get everyone. And now you have these 36 people who are all part of the administrative job profile group, right? So everybody has an S in this case. So pretty simple condition or calculated function. If you want to denote yes or no based on an evaluating condition, you can use it. I mean, we'll use this calc field in more like in the calculation hierarchy in other calculated fields. Like we'll see, for example, let's say my requirement is to print just 3 values or three things based on their salary. So if let's say if their base pay is less than 50,000, I would say underpay. Less from 50,000 to 100,000, I would say medium pay, and more than 100,000, we can say high pay. Right? We just create something like that. So based on their total base pay, based on the ranges of the total base pay, my calculated field should return a text of saying underpay, average pay, high pay. Right? You can do that. So let's try to build something like that. So in order to get that, first we have our total base pay. This is $17.63 or okay, maybe hourly. We do have some bigger ones. Good. So we have 3 sets of amounts anyways. So we're gonna create those first. So all we're gonna have to do is for this calculated field, we'll build something called evaluate expression. Evaluate expression based on the both object. So evaluate expression evaluates a series of conditions and returns the value associated with the first condition that is true. If no conditions are true, returns the default value. So this is what happens when you use an evaluate expression. Evaluate a series of conditions, returns the value associated with the first condition. Right? So what it's going to do is you can have multiple conditions here, and based on each condition, it evaluates each condition and returns if that value is true. If the condition is true after that specific value. So in this case, so we need conditions also. So we need conditions, 3 conditions saying total base pay less than 50,000, total base pay in between 50 to 100,000, total base pay greater than 50 to 100,000. Sorry, greater than 100,000. Right? We need 3 different conditions. We can't get them directly as fields, right? Your total base pay is there, but yeah, and this only returns only true or false. only Boolean fields, because this is a condition field. All you see is Booleans here. Everything is true or false. So you have to build the true or false condition that says total base pay less than 50, right? So we'll do that first. I'm gonna go duplicate. You're gonna say here, what the total base pay less 50K. I'm gonna put it on the same worker object. That's where my evaluator is being built. I'm gonna create a true or false condition here. Click OK. And I'm gonna say total base pay amount is less than or equal to 50,000. So this calculated field is nothing but our total base pay less than or equal to 50,000. Okay, you can add it here. So you're going to select what is the return field type first. Return field type is text. I want to print text, right? And you have your condition here, and it is saying when this condition is true, what value you want to return. I want to return something like less pay or below market. Let's put below market. Okay. You don't find below market as a field in there because that's not something that's usual, right? What you have to do is for that, how do you get below market? Any guesses?
Constant text.
Yep. Let's build a text constant. Text constant. Market. Well, it's gonna say it's below market. Then you get your text constant in there, the below market text constant. Okay. Now one is done. So you have to create similar calculated fields for both the other conditions as well. What I want to do here is instead of saying below 50,000, I want to say total base pay should be greater than 0 and below 50,000. Greater than 0. Okay. And it should be less than 50,000. The same field I'll copy and say field name. Same thing here. Total base pay amount is greater than 50,000 and less than or equal to 100,000. Okay. And we see them both. And I'm going to do one more copy and say just greater than 100K. And this should be 100K, and this is not required. Okay. I'm going to put both of my functions here. Both of my true or false conditions are there here. Now I need my text constants again. Okay. This is just for market. say this as above market. Just building a text constant. Do your text block. And the default value I would return as 0. I would say a default value, I would give it as a no pay. Right. So let's copy it again. Let's build our no pay. Text constant and then use a default value. So, right. So when you get a no pay, when any of the 3 conditions are not met, that means when your salary is 0, right? Because our first condition is saying 0 to 50K, but not 0. I mean, greater than 0, less than 50K. Less than or equal to 50K. Right. So I'm going to use this function. Not report. So this calc field returns a text as your output because you selected the field type as text. So it's going to return a text. Those are all the text constants that we mentioned, right? So any of our condition is true, the first condition, when it is true, it will return that value. Okay. So this guy is above, this guy is above, everybody is above, pay is as per market, this guy has no pay, I know why he's working for, no pay, above market, is below. Yeah. This is 20 is below. Right. So now you just created an evaluate expression where you are evaluating multiple conditions, returning the value associated with it is true. I mean, this is pretty small. When we say evaluate, sometimes you have to build like, I just built 3 items here, right? Sometimes you get requirement to build like 10 to 15 or I think 20 also. It's a pretty pain, creating all these conditions and creating all these return values as text constants or, I mean, these return values here are text constants, but you might have to do something else. You might do an arithmetic calculation for a return value. Let's say if your salary is less than 50K, your return value is an arithmetic calculation where it calculates 50K into some 10% tax. If it's 50 to 100, you will calculate 15% tax. If it's 100 more than 100K, you calculate 20%. Right. So your return values are based out of that as well. Right. But condition is always a true or false condition. Okay. Questions, anyone on this one? Very simple. Yeah. Cool. Okay. The next function we'll see, we get back to evaluate anyways, but next we're gonna look for.
Hey Krishna.
Get to the big guy. Yes.
On true or false condition,
Yeah, go ahead.
if the condition is false, will it return the false, no, or blank value?
No, if none of these conditions are met. Oh, you mean just the true or false condition?
Yes.
In the UI, it would return this blank.
Okay.
I think on XML, it would return a 0.
Okay.
Yeah, XML, it should return a 0. On the UI, it will just return a blank.
Oh, okay.
Krishna, also always we should give the, whatever the condition satisfied, it gives as value as true, right? That is the only way it does it.
Yes, yes.
So we should always give the true condition there in the class, in the condition or whatever, whenever we are designing it, right?
So where, come again, this one?
Not here, not in this one, the other one, true or false type. So the criteria is always,
true or false.
yeah, the criteria I should always give which comes as true, right? It's not the false criteria. I cannot change that, right?
I didn't. I mean, can you? Let me see this. Let me run this out. Okay. So this guy has a true, right? And the rest of them are false anyways. Okay. So you're saying if you have to build something that should give not true.
Can you open any, whatever you have, true, false, one of the field?
One of the cal field?
Yeah, for true, false. Can you open that?
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. What you're saying.
See here in this
So in
field,
this job profile, in the selection list,
yeah.
You can also do not in the selection list.
But it is always true. It will give true who are not in this comparison values, right? I cannot enforce it to be false,
Yes.
right? If there are values here, make it false. I cannot give that here, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you can. There are ways to build it. I mean, if you want, you can do this and put it in an evaluate expression and then return a value of false whenever that true is true.
Okay, good. Not
Right.
with the actual false.
When you go to evaluate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not with your true or false condition. No, it wouldn't give a negative value when it's true.
Okay.
But somebody is asking me this. You have an option here to select do not show when false. So show no when false. So you can do that to show no's instead of now we have no, then you might have that somewhere else, somewhere down. So. Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, let's go to something interesting. Okay. Now, everything we have been playing here is a single instance, right? So let's play with multi-instance. Worker history. I want my worker history right here. Effective date on the accident, the date the business process takes effect. Date and time completed. So this, let's not get it for everyone. Let's only get it for people whose salaries are above the market range. I can do it this. Filter my evaluate expression. Filter that, but you can use this calculate, right? I don't have to filter the value. I can just put this guy. Only give me people who have greater than 100K equal to true. Give me only those kinds of things. I mean, I'm just filtering out because worker history is a pretty big object. You'll get a lot of likes, so you don't want to go around that. This should give us not much data. Still, it's taking time. So when you go worker history, right? Worker history is your workers history. Let's go, if I go for this employee, when I'm looking at worker history, I'm looking at entire all the worker transactions that happen on this worker, like 236 items from the beginning of that worker's workday timing, right? So I'm looking at all these transactions. So that means each transaction is a line item when you go on a multi-instance, right? Each transaction is its own line item. So let's say my requirement is to only, I don't want all these transactions. These are too many. My requirement is to only get most recent transaction of SN organizations, right? Let's say that is my request. So I'm looking for SN organizations on her entire worker history, which is this one. I'm looking for SN organizations on a worker history, and I'm trying to get this guy. This is the only line I'm trying to get because it is the most recent, or I've effectively everything is same, but transaction complete statement is different. So I'm gonna look for most recent transaction completed date and time. So I'm gonna get this transaction, or this one which is completed, right? So I don't need rest of this information, rest of these things here, right? So when you filter it out, you can't filter something on a secondary business object, right? But you can filter something from a second sub-filter. You can sub-filter something on a secondary business object. So I can go and say sub-filter, add my business object worker history, and I would say business process type in the selection list is SN organization. Right? Is that the business process type for this guy? Change organization assignment for worker. I'm gonna do that. Change organization assignments for that worker. So I said filter out all the transactions except for business process type is change organization assignment for worker. So when I run this report, my sub filter is gonna go down. My sub filter will reduce to only these set of events. Okay? But still, there are multiple SN organization events on that worker. I'm looking for something that is latest. Okay? It's the most recent one. So all I need is that information because I'm trying to get an effective date of the most recent organization change, and we can get a proposed and current organization from those events. In order to do that, right now you're looking at 4. I have to reduce it to 1 event, the most recent event, right? In order to do that, you have a calculated field. You're trying to extract a single instance, or you're trying to extract one line or this line from this set of multiple lines, right? So you're trying to extract a single instance from a multi-instance field. So you would go with extract single instance. EF worker, EFI, wait. Extract single instance. Extracts the single instance of a related business object based on a condition. Will return 0 or 1 instance. So when a condition, you have to give it a condition saying extract a single instance from this multi-instance. Right? So your source field is worker. And what is your condition? What condition you have to give here, right? So this condition is also on a secondary business object, right? It's going by related business object. Your condition is your business process type should be SN organization because you only want SN organization business processes. Right? So this, you have to build that condition up. So I'm going to create one more calculated field. This time, I'm not going to use worker, I'm going to use action event because my condition is based out of my related business object. I mean, my condition is based out of my worker history related business object. I'm going to go here. I'm going to create a condition, which is a true or false.
Krishna, how did you get that action event there? I'm a little confused about that.
It's automatic. It goes by the source field. Whatever source field you pick, I pick worker history because I'm trying to extract from worker history. Worker history's related business object is directly action event.
Oh, okay.
So if you go for any other field, you'll have a different, let's say if I'm looking for economic appointment titles, you'll get a different related business object.
So worker history is
It's
also a
automatic.
business
So
object, right, Krishna?
Worker history, I wouldn't say business object, it's more of a field. It's more of a field, but action event is the business object technically. So this is a business object. Worker is a
Business object as
Worker
well.
history is more of a
History.
field. I mean, you can
No, what
use
is-
it on your report as your secondary business object. Okay. Like in what you're thinking is probably I'm using it here. That means it is a business object. Not necessarily. These are fields. When you see something like this, it is a field type, right? So it is a field technically. But underneath it, you have action event that is driving out the number of lines. You get one line per action event. Right? When you run your report with worker history as your related business object, you get one line per action event. Whereas worker, you get one per worker because worker is directly a business object. When you don't see something, some field type associated with it, that is a business object. When you see something like this, those are instances. Right? This is a multi-instance, and this is a single instance. You can get business process type also here and get something. So you can use your single and multi-instance field as your object. I would say source objects when on your report. You can use them as a business object and then get the values associated for that specific field. But those go by its own business object. So this, if you go business process type, this is a business process type related business object. It goes on event object.
But Krishna, when we selected the column of the worker, right? And we were able to pull that.
Where? Here?
Yeah, here.
What do you mean column of the worker?
Oh,
Okay.
you still used worker history as the business object to pull that, right?
Yeah. Yep. Worker history as a business object and pull these fields. I mean, because these fields will not be available on worker. Because I don't have a business process type for worker, right? Worker will not have a business process type. Worker is just worker. You won't have business process type. Worker has worker history, and worker history has business process types. It's like you're going into the data now, more into chain elements.
On the worker history, Krishna, if it is a field by itself, then we were able to put worker history in the business object, and then we have more fields on the right side on the field column, multiple like a business process type action event.
Yep. These are going based out of action event as a primary business object, as your business object. So these fields have action event as business process. So when you're using worker history, you're technically using the action event there. But your related business object here is action event type.
Okay. And all the fields on the worker history are based out of action event business object?
Yep. That's why when you run this, right, you'll see one line per action event. I mean, typically per business object. I mean, one line per worker history, that means all these lines are for action event. When you run based out of worker, you only get one line per worker. Yeah. I know it's little confusing. I would say, like, if we get your hands on it, you'll try to get an understanding of it easily. Okay, let's build this cal field, and you'll understand what we are going through. So we have our, let's take a step back on work extracting instance, right? So we have our worker history as our multi-instance field, and we're trying to extract one most recent organization change event itself. That's the only event we want. We don't want any of this rest of these events, right? So we're going to build extract single instance on that multi-instance field, which is your worker history, which has a business object of action event automatically. And then you're trying to build a condition saying where your business process type is organization assignments only, right? So I'm creating a calculated field for that with a true or false as your condition. I mean, true or false function. I would go with business. Right. In the selection list, assign organization, assign organization. I'm going to use this as a condition. Now, there is one more field here called sort. I mean, when we did use it as subfilter, we were able to filter out all the worker history into only assign organization business process events, right? But still we got more. I mean, and we have to have an order, right? So right now this sort field, what it does is it sorts all these 4 transactions or all these remaining transactions in that worker history after the condition is met in an order, so you can pick the right value. Right? If you want to do it with effective date, you give here effective date. But I want to do it with completed date and time. I want to sort direction is ascending, so I want to start from A to Z. I think date goes by Z to A. Anyways, I want to start it from the beginning of time to latest, and then I want to get the last occurrence of it. Last occurrence is the latest occurrence. If you see this field, and don't forget this field is on your worker object. Right? This calculated field was built on your worker object. It was looking up all these fields, but you can go back to your report. I'm going to edit it. Go back on my worker. When I use this calculator here. I'm going to click OK. Run it. So this extract single instance calculated field is just returning us that an organization is right. Right. I mean, it might be any one of these 4. I mean, you didn't know this is the last one because you haven't gotten any dates for it, right? What I can do is I can go ahead and now use this calculated field that I built on the related business object section here as a field here. Because this is a single instance, right? I can still get values from it. I'm going to get action event for this. I'm going to get the business process type. I'm going to status here, sorry. I'm going to get status on it. Okay, effective date. Okay, so I have all the same fields for what we have on worker history. I'm gonna click OK, and then let's run it again. Now if I do it in this way, okay. Now you have your, this is your secondary business object, this section right here. Let's pay attention. Hold on. So this section right here is my secondary, is my worker history. This is the multi-instance field, right? And this one we got from the single instance. Okay. So this is the single instance. This is the multi-instance. So when you see your multi-instance has a lot of fields. I mean, sorry, a lot of rows here. So each row is only 10 organizations because you had a subfilter filtering out your multi-instance, but you got all the possible values here. But my single instance, what I said is, only give me the latest, it's 1920, 2013, which is this one, right? This is the latest time. Right. It sorted out. It sorted all these four records using the last date and time completed, and this is the latest one. So it gave me this line item over here. So I was able to get something out of your worker history, multi-instance into one single instance. So this will only return you always that specific instance or that specific or most recent organization change completed event. Questions on this? I mean, this is the most, probably the most complex thing here. Yep.
Can you go back to the report, Krishna? The report edit.
Okay.
So in the left-hand side, so you selected worker history as ESI, so which is a calculated field. And how did you got all these fields, action, event, business process type?
So this is nothing but your worker history, but only one instance of your worker history. Okay, because this calculated field is built here, right? So it is getting, so this is the calculate ESI history, right? So it is getting a source field. Okay. So this is getting worker history, and based on a condition, only organization change, and sorted by date and name completed, return me the latest event or latest value, right? So out of this worker history, out of all those multiple lines, all these 4 lines, I only got 1 line now. So this calculated field is returning worker history, but only the most recent organization change worker history event. So worker history is nothing but your action event, right? All your events associated with that worker, right? When you extract a single instance, you give a condition, and you extract only one action event or one line item, which meets your condition, right? In this case, these two are same. Worker history is giving me the same value, and also my calculated field is giving me the same value, but my ESI will only give one instance. That means one line item.
Because of the condition that we added.
Yep.
Because of the condition that we added.
So I can assume that source field as a table like the worker history. So from there, we are getting all those fields in the calculated field.
So consider it this way, right? I mean, both, if you talk about tables, right, both are tables in my sense, because this calculated field now is also a table, but it has its own value. Right? It has the fields are same. So whatever fields you can get from this worker history, you can get same field from this ESI as well. But the values, it will only give the most recent one. This will give everything. So this one is a subset. So it's more like an sub table, or maybe, I don't know how you can describe it in a table perspective, but it's more of a subset of entire worker history.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Just the data. The data is subset, but the fields are the same. Okay.
Krishna, I was really
Any other
confused.
questions, anyone?
Yeah, I was really confused until right now when you explained about this, whatever you're displaying. So can you just summarize, because worker is a primary business object and you have worker history, right? Which is a related object to the worker.
Yes.
Is that true?
A field to the worker. Don't say worker history as your related object, but it is more of a multi-instance field to the worker.
Okay. So
worker history has
Okay.
its own business object called action event.
Okay. So under the business object, whenever we are creating a report, we can either add the business object, or we can also add a multi-instance of that particular related field or whatever, right? That's how it is, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Under the report, yes.
Under the report. So when I add worker history in the
Multi or even a single instance also.
all right. So to my understanding, can you just confirm whether it's right or wrong? So when I created this business object, I add worker and I added a multi-instance of the worker history, which is not a business object, but it's a multi-instance of the worker. So I was able to pull multiple rows for that. And also I can able to add a single instance where I created a condition by myself, whether it's the most effective or the least effective or whatever, which is actually filtering out whenever it is retrieving from the worker history. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. It is filtering out all the transactions and giving you only one transaction or one action event that meets that condition.
Okay, because until yesterday, I was under the impression we can only add business or related business objects for this report. But today I learned something new, which is like multi-instance or a single instance of that particular, which is not even related to business object, right?
Yes, I mean, so it happens like this, right? When you start using it, you get used to saying it a related business object, but it is more of a field. But the field has its own. So when you say you're getting information from worker history is just the name of a field, but you're actually getting it from the action event related business object. But yes, like you said, you can add multi-instance and single instance fields also on your report. So those act as your secondary business objects to get the information for you.
Okay. What
so
really
those related?
what? Oh, go ahead, Krishna.
No. Go ahead then.
Instead of worker history, if I go ahead and add the event, what is the event which relates to worker history? Is it? Can you show me? I can click on that.
So the secondary business object here is action event, right? So let me try to.
Can you add action event directly?
I don't think so. The action event is.
Okay.
Action event is. You can't add action event. Action event is coming from your field. So this, how do I put it? I'm trying to put it in a. Okay, let me draw something out.
Yeah, that might help us.
So you have your worker. You have your action event. So these two are business objects, right? Now you have your worker history. I would put it this way, like these two are connected and these two are So worker history is actually coming from your action event business process. So if you try to build, let's try to build something different. Let's try to build something on action event. Business process transaction. So you can name it in a way that it confuses us. So you go by business process transaction as your data source. Actually, so when you go business process transactions as your data source, you have your action event as your primary business object, right? So this will give you you get to worker from here, like which worker is this action event taken upon. So this is the other way around. You're coming from action event. So you get one line per action event. You get all these things, but you just click OK. I mean, this data source has built-in prompts. Right? Let's see. Okay. Only get the assign organization. So now you're getting one action event per line, right? So your report is typically going by action event business object, and it is pulling all the events irrespective of the workers. It's pulling every event that happened on all the workers, and then giving you one per line, and then this worker is just coming. So you're coming from this way and going to worker, right? Whereas in this report, you're starting with worker as your primary business object. Worker history is more of a field that you use, which is associated with an action event business object. So these two are business objects. So this is more like a field that you access and get information from. Okay, so right here, both of this should give us similar information. So if I say I can filter out, I can add a filter for our worker, Jill Jones. Let's add a filter for worker. Jill Jones. So with Jill Jones, you have all these organization assignment events, right? Why do I see 8? Well, get some more details. I don't want to see 8 here. Okay, anyway. So you're going by action event here. You got your all the transactions that happened on Jill Jones, right? And then over here, you started with worker and you went into worker history and you got the same set of transactions that happened on Jill Jones, but that specific, right? I'm going to add worker here. Filter Jill Jones. in the selection list. What is the error we got? Why did we get only 4? What happened to the rest of the contact? Oh, these are duplicates of each other.
It's duplicated.
Why did this? Yeah, why did this keep duplicated? My action event has to give me 1 transaction per worker. Unless this looks like something weird. In this test tenant side, you see a lot of transactions. That's weird. Then you see only 4. Yeah, these 4 only should be there. Why didn't it even duplicate? Wow. That's my action event should give. The report data source is action unit contains business process transaction of all business report data source options are available. We recommend to use parameters as prompts. Okay, that is not including outbound transaction. Okay. What does it have to do multiple transactions? You shouldn't get duplicates here, that's for sure, because your action event is supposed to give 1 business process transaction per worker. Okay. But apart from that, I don't know why duplicates came in. We look into it later, but you got the same transaction set when you use your action event also as your primary business object. You have worker here now, right? You can do the same thing. You can use your worker as your secondary business object. I mean, but it is a field right now. Use your worker here, this worker field here, this report will worker. Right here. And you can get anything you want on the work as long as it is available on your worker field. Right? You can get almost everything. So what we are trying to say is those both are connected using that worker history or business process transactions or whatever they name it, right? There are a lot of fields out there, not just worker history. There is business process transactions. There are other fields out there which are connecting your worker and action event business process, business object. If you look at the object itself, or action event itself, I think you can see it here. What is the whatever is linking it together? This is big object. The related business objects. I'm looking for worker. It links. Then you. Yeah. So this is from action event. You have 33 fields that are relating your worker from action events. Same thing. Same thing here. You have 89 fields from worker relating your worker history or relating your action event. So you also have our field that we have filled. You have your worker history. You have our calculated field. So now these 2 are coming from worker. You have 2 different fields here. You have 1 more field now that we added, which is your calculated field, which is also relating your worker and also your action event. Right? Does that make any sense? These 2 are only business objects. These are all fields that you can use in either of the business objects to get into the information of your secondary business object. Or did I confuse you more, guys? No comments means more confusion, or
it's falling in place. Probably if we go through some motion, it might make more sense. But I have a question on the report itself. When you select worker history by itself, you have a value, and when you put worker history on your business object, you have options to field, options to select column. So if you go back to our this report right here, output.
okay.
The output itself. When you run
Oh, you mean the output?
Yeah. See, here,
Let me
the worker
move.
history.
Yeah, go ahead. Worker history.
Worker history by itself is a field, right? Right. Where is that? You moved it somewhere. Worker history is the field by itself, right? Not in this version.
It used to be here, but I removed it.
Yeah. When you have it, it only showed the action event or the first column. Is that always going to be the first action event, or when you selected worker history, it showed one value?
Let me show you worker history field itself. So this is our calculated field. It's showing only one value, but let's go worker history. This is our worker history field, right?
Correct.
You looked at earlier. And then remember, you have a sub filter which is filtering out your worker history with business process and automation. So you'll only see 4 now.
Correct.
Click OK. Click run.
I'm talking about the specific value,
field, which is giving you all the 4. Oh, that's the action event and all. Here you go. You see, right? When I use worker history as your object on the business object side, worker history field on the business object side, I was able to pull all the values, all the 4.
Correct. You're able to pull all the details, sub elements of worker history, but when you added the worker history directly, it's only showing one value here, which is the action event, on worker.
Yes.
So is this always going to be the first column on that? Is that a value by itself, or what is that?
Not the first column. So action event, I just printed out action event because I need one. I just printed out action event to show you guys that this is 4 different lines when you go worker history as your business object. But in this case, you're just getting the worker history. I mean, not even worker history. If you get positions or any other multi-instance field, you'll get all the 4. And this, when you see a hyperlink, that means you have other fields in there, right? Other fields and other values or other information is available in there. So I just opened this one. This is this entire event, right? It has all the effective date, worker. You can get all this information from this specific event.
Yeah. Okay.
This line. Right?
Okay.
And
it's
same thing.
It's more like a hyperlink.
When I used worker history as my object, I was able to get it.
Okay.
Yeah. When I used it as my business object, I was able to get that information because I'm looking into worker history now to get those fields. Next, guys, any other questions coming up for me? That's this guy. Okay. So that is until now. Okay. We're going to see one more. This report. Okay. So what if how do I do this? simple. I think yes. Okay. I have my worker. Once I have this, can I get my process? Yeah, okay, last business process event record completed. I think I can use my business process event here. So, but can I use my business process event here? No, of course not. So there was a question earlier, like how do you look into child elements? So, right. So let's say right now our primary business object is worker. So we started at worker. We went into worker history. We got out one instance, right? So we went into worker history. We got out our field. So now I'm trying to get this business process event onto my business object. Okay? In order to do that, I was not able to get it here because business process event is not available on worker. Not this worker. They want just the business process event. It is not available on the worker. Not available on the worker, right? In order to do that, right, you're gonna do something called lookup related value. You're gonna look up this business process event field from this extract single instance calculated field that we have developed onto worker. Pretty simple. One way to put it is create calculated field. We're gonna go by worker object. We're gonna do a lookup related value. Lookup field is our calculated field, CF worker PSI history. And then I'm gonna return business process event. Right. So this calculated field is now on the worker object, but the values it is returning is from the business process event, right? You understand? We went to the third level and you're getting information from the third level now. So click OK. I'll be able to use this thing here, business process event, and then I can get the information of the business process event, right? Let's say I'm gonna cost center. Come on. What do you get my proposed? Current. Latest in progress. One second, guys. Trying to figure out the field here which I can't see now. I don't know why. Amended, attachment, await person of the business process action, steps completed, comment. I thought we can get them from event. Reason category, reason text. In this allows you to drill into details related. Yeah, I need to get the transactions, not the event, the business process transaction. I'm going to change my calculated field lookup related value to get me the business process transaction. Okay. So this should give us the proposed what? And what I'm trying to get is this information. What is the proposed or the prior value and the proposed value, right? I'm trying to get that information, and I should do it that way. Location style.
Is that value on a company? Is that value on an event or action event object? I think you're looking at one level
It should be
earlier.
Yeah.
This is action event. Business process transaction is an action event.
Yeah, business process transaction is the action event, right? Identifies the business process, allows you to drill into details and across related actions. So you should give me. So let's run it. Let's run and see if this is really the event that we want. I run this. The business process transaction. Yeah, see, this is giving me that particular transaction. So I elevated that business process transaction into the worker object. So now I got my business process transaction, this transaction, onto the primary level. We did it a lot of times, and interesting. So I got this is the cal field that we built. Yes, I am taking the business process transaction out. And I'm looking for, I got the business process. Everything is there. Event, we already took it. We tried event. No reason it's not anything else. Transaction we tried, type tried. And the building phone number from calculator. Seriously.
Krishna, are we trying to get an object and a field from action event or a event?
Event itself. I mean, that's this particular event. So the information I want is this event.
Is that on an event object?
It is on the transaction object, right? The transaction, I mean, yeah, the action event object, of course. But yeah, it is on the transaction field, the business process transaction field. So what are you saying? If I get it from current location, current forward, I don't know. Propose. Job history, proposed details. What is this proposed details? Proposed details of a compensation change. Okay. We'll see some other example now, but I'm gonna give you that as an assignment, and I'll show you how to do it in first place. We did it in our earlier session. I don't know why it is not showing up to me now. Anyway, okay. So let's pick some other example here. So what I'm trying to do is, instead of business process transaction, I can get I can get to any of these fields, and if you want those fields on your related business object, you can do a lookup related value. So I'm gonna just get the reason now, the business process reason. And I need the reason reference ID, for example. Business process reason. I need the business process reasons reference ID, or the information from the business process reason. What is the specific reason, text or something like that. Instead of doing, you will not be able to find this here. But when you can create a lookup related value to do the same thing for you. So usually these extract single instance and lookup related values go hand in hand. Because you are extracting something and then you're putting it, you'll use any of those fields on your secondary business object to get that information, right? Yes. I need the event classification subcategory. I can get it from here. I can get the reference IDs of that business process event, business process reason, and all those fields. And if you want this classification subcategory onto worker again, they didn't put any reason. They didn't put any reason. Okay, this tenant does not have any of the regular values configured. I'm using all the wrong examples. So anyway, we will discuss this again, except those two cal fields on Monday as well. I want to get you a good example and explain it again. On the worker history itself, we'll look for, so what information I want is, I want this information. I want my proposed company, I want my current company, and those two information coming to on my report. You guys can start an assignment that I gave. So I added an assignment in there, EIB assignment. Don't worry about the max length. Don't worry about this column. Just work on these fields here until the job classifications. Work on the fields and the format. These two columns. You don't have to worry about max length. That is EIB only. That comes as when we build an EIB. You can get all these rest of the fields on an advanced report, and other cal fields and all we'll discuss on Monday. I want to get some example for this, because the purpose I want to tell it to you today is, I want this proposed compensation and prior compensation coming through on the report. Some of those fields are not coming to my top of my head right now. We can discuss those later.
Krishna,
But you
one
understood the
question.
concept of extract single instance and lookup related value, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
So do we have any report like where we can find all the list of fields from a data source that we select?
Data source
Or a business
look
object?
at an object. Yeah, when you go for a business object, let's say, okay, this is our business object, right? Action event. these are all fields that are available on your business object, both Workday delivered and also both Workday delivered and also calculated. One thing when you said that. Yes, what we're trying to look for. I want to provide the organized from worker business process. I mean, I just searched the field that I want and I went to reporting and I was able to see all these fields. So these fields should give me the information that I need. And these are all the available fields for that name. So custom organization proposed is coming from worker business process. Will I be able to get worker business process ID here? What if I extract my worker business process instead of this reason? This process, and I'm gonna remove these two. I'm looking for current and support. Okay, as an organization current. Thank you. You gave me an idea, sir. Okay. This should give us. What is this field again? Okay. I mean, in this case, I believe the proposed and current are same. They did not change anything. All that it is probably just added it. They didn't change anything. They didn't change the cost center. They didn't change the cost. What have we got here? We got the company, you got the cost center. They did not change anything. So then you got the same information again. Okay, but step back a little bit. Let me explain you this part. So what I did is I was able to get the information from my action event, from this action event, from this worker business process action event. And I was able to pull the information that happened on this action event. The organizations that were proposed, the organizations that were earlier than that. It changed from what to what. In this case, nothing's changed, so I did not see anything. But that's what I was checking, right? What is my current and what is my proposed? Okay. In order to do that, what we did is we started with worker history. We extracted the most recent compensation change of the worker history, okay, which is this ESI, and we got the worker business process here where it has the proposed and current fields. And how I noticed it is, with some help, I was able to look for just the field names. I was able to look for these field names on my reporting, and this field name gave me an idea saying that my supervisory organization proposed or my custom organization proposed field are available on my worker object. So worker business process, which is going on separate objects. But anyways, then I was able to look into worker business process using my calc field here called lookup related value. So I went from my worker history into my worker business process, right? And then, so to give a pictorial representation real quick, we have our worker here, and which went up to this entire thing is worker history. Okay? And then we got the most recent assign org. So this is the most recent assign organization event. And then we went into the worker business process field. Worker business process field, in which we were able to get the proposed and current. Proposed and current. So you started with worker, you looked into your worker multi-instance work history, you extracted that one instance we're using your calculated field, extract single instance, right? CFPSI is this. And then afterwards, you went into the worker business process and you got the proposed. So, but using lookup related value, you're able to link this proposed directly with your worker. So, no, sorry, not this. You're able to link the worker business process directly with your worker. So this is your lookup related value. What this lookup related value it is, you basically from worker you link into your worker business process. Sorry, worker business process field instead of because you're able to only look on your report. If the worker is your primary business object, you'll be only able to look one level down. But now you went to the second level and you went to look into the worker business process from the worker itself. Yeah. But let's, for example, if I want to compare this proposed and current, right now in my example here, I got both the same. Jill Jones have both the same. I'm trying to find out if anybody has any difference in the most recent organization change, right? So to do that, we need to add our worker proposed and current onto a filter, right? You should say instead of worker equal to this, you should say you have to say propose these two fields. What are these two fields are? Current or assigned organization current, assigned organization proposed. Organization current. You don't see that because that field is not even available on your primary business object because filter is always on your primary business object, right? Assigned organization current is not available, right? So what do? How do you get your assigned organization current, which is on some calculated field, directly onto your worker object? Right? Now you have your worker business process here on the worker object, but you're trying to go into a level deep. And you say it in our example. Hopefully, come on, I cannot move it. Undo, yeah. In our example, I'm trying to get to my proposed and current directly from worker. Instead of doing this lookup related value, I want to do this. I want to do this. So I can access the proposed and current directly on my worker object. Okay, so do it. Let's go back to our calculated field. So we're gonna build something related like this, lookup related value, create calculated field. Same on my worker object because my calculated field is already on my worker object. Lookup related value. I use my lookup business process. Alt here. Post. Then organization support. So this you can directly use on your filter. Propose. Similar way, you need SN organization current as well. So I'm going to copy it, just build that SN organization current. And I'm going to look for assign or
Krishna, what is the lookup field which we usually give? What is that?
oh, this one. So this one is your lookup. This is a different calculated field, right? So I'm going to open it. So this one is another lookup field, which is from your worker history, the instance of single instance of your worker history. You got the worker business process field here.
Oh, okay. So in order to relate to the
Yes,
second,
if you do.
always we need to have the first level link to be given to the second?
Yes, yes. So if you want to go to this, first you need to establish this link, and then you have to go into the upper level, right? So you can't directly go directly here without having this. So this should be there. You can't do this without having this link established.
Okay.
Always, this is always important in order to have the next level included.
Okay. And the return value, whatever you are giving, is it a business process?
Mm-hmm.
All you give the return value?
Oh, this has its own text. The business. So this is the business process of the worker. Blank is the for that specific worker. I mean that specific event. Anyways, I'm getting it for the specific event, right? So that is the business process that happened on that worker for this specific event, which we got from our extract single instance, which is the most recent organization change. Right. I'll show you the calculation history once we just finish up this thing. Real quick. We just finish up this thing. Any in the selection list. Not value specified, value from another field, get the value from current. I'm going to remove Jill Jones. I'm not worried about Jill Jones. Not even worried about the salaries. Okay. Oh, I said equal to. Yeah, I said equal to. I shouldn't say equal to. It should be not equal to. Or none in the selection list. Value from another field. I'm going to do a test, not going to run for it. Here you see, in this business process event or whatever it is, what happened is there is a change in company from you removed Alma Mater USA and we added the catering, Max Catering as a company, right? So our report is now returning that Alma Mater University is removed and proposed is the Max Catering, this one, right? Same way, the marketing communications, I think it's being removed and it is replaced by Max 200 marketing, right? Max 200 marketing. If you want to go deep into this again, like this is also a hyperlink, right? You can go into it. It has its own set of fields like organization code, organization name, organization availability date, and other fields within that specific organization, specific cost center, right? Again, this is a multi-instance. So if you want to go into specifically the proposed organization where organization type is cost center, you create an extra single instance again, go ahead, go into it. Right. So this one, yes. Okay. And back to your question, I have to show you the hierarchy of what we did today. The hierarchy starts here in the filter, so proposed. I'm looking for LRB proposed, the calculation hierarchy. So calculation hierarchy goes these levels down, right? So it started with your, okay, it started with your business process type is organization assignments for worker. That is the true or false condition you build. And then you use the true or false condition in the extract single instance where your source field is worker history, your condition is the organization event, organization, well, your condition is business process type. Your condition is this, right? Your condition is this condition here. Business process type is change organization assignments. And you looked up onto the top, you went and looked up your worker business process from your extract single instance. And again, you went one level top, you took it onto worker object, where you looked up the worker business process, the cal field, the lookup related value of the below one, and you elevated it the assign organizations proposed. Right? So you build like four cal fields to get your assign organizations proposed, this field from a worker business object onto your report filter. So what is this field now? This field is your most recent. So this is just your organization assignment, assign organizations proposed somewhere on worker business object, worker business process object. But now you're able to use this field for a worker on the most recent organization change, proposed organizations, right? Questions? You have a lot of questions. Yeah.
So every time you pass through one level, you always create one calculated field as a lookup for return value, and you pass the object to the higher level, right? Is that correct understanding, Krishna?
Yes. Yes.
So
if you want
is
to
there
go into
a limit?
Level, there is no limit. I mean, there's no limit. You can look as long as you establish the right relationship, right? So if you want to look at a field on the third level, first you have to establish the relation between the 1 and 2 because 1 and 3 are not connected. Right? So to connect the 1 and 3, you create a lookup. You start with 1 as your primary object, the business object of the cal field. You use your 2 as your lookup field, and you get your 3 onto 1. So you establish the relationship between 1 and 3, right? So let's go by numbers. So you have your 1, which is your primary object, and then you have your 2, which is just your some multi-instance or single instance field. You have your 3, 4, 5 levels down. Now, if you want to establish 1 and 3, first you can directly establish 1 and 3, right? So this takes only one lookup related value.
Yeah.
Right. You build your cal field on 1. You use your lookup field as 2. You return value 3.
Correct.
Same way we did here, right? If you want to establish 1 and 4, this one, you're going to use your 3 as your lookup field. So this will be your lookup field. Okay. So this will return you the fourth value. Same way, if you want to use your 5, this will be your lookup field. The return value is 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And all the fields that you define are on the objects, right? Yeah, it looks normal now. Maybe when we try to do exercise, it might sound a lot of questions, but at this moment it makes sense. But I also have another question. Now, are these objects, the lookup fields that you're creating, calculated fields that you're creating, are they associated with the worker object right now? All the objects that you created?
I mean, right now I started with worker, right? So I had to build everything towards worker. So this is my worker right now in my report.
Correct. But if I open another report, if I create another report based out of worker object, will I have all these calculated fields that you defined for me to access them? A separate report.
Yes, you'll have access to all of this. Yep, all of these lookup related values that you create on worker. Yeah, any report.
So they're not specific to report.
I know
they're specific to the worker object.
They're not specific to the worker object, but there is one thing that thought I'll tell you at the end. But for every report, right, so you have an option to create calculated field for that report. Okay, so if I go on a worker, you see calculated field for report, create cal field for report. Or you can use the same task called create calculated field for report. Can do that. Oh my, I think you can do it from here. Create calculated field from report. So this one, it automatically gave you this, but it also associates your report with that. So that means when you build something like this, create calculated field for report, even though you build it on your business object worker, it is only accessible for that specific report. It is not accessible across the worker object on all your reports.
Okay.
So it's the same function. Cal field is the same, but you use create this task right here instead of creating something outside. You'll create just for the specific report. It is your, I mean, it is your IT team's thing, right? If you want to create more of these specific report specified cal fields, or if you want to create something global that everybody, global in the sense, outside of report on the worker object that everybody uses. And so it's your IT team's decision.
Yep.
So these took time. Yeah. It's almost 2 hours.
Yeah. Again, as you said, it's probably a complex subject anyway. So.
Yeah. This, I mean, if you understand this, your cal fields seem like pretty easy. I mean, you can get to. I mean, it took me at least 1 or 2 years to understand, at least until this level, whatever I explained to you guys today. So.
That's good. Thank you.
It will be easy later if it took time to understand this. Because, I mean, Workday, it's a lot confusing because they say business object, you can use the field as an object, and then a lot of confusion. Yeah, we'll figure out. Okay. Any questions? I know it's already too late. Let's not take any more time, any more of you guys' time today. I would like you guys to start this assignment. I would like you guys to start this assignment. So this will give you a better picture when you build. I mean, I asked a similar thing. I want most recent compensation and prior compensation and proposed compensation from the event. So that is the same request. Similar to way how we did organizations, you do it for compensation. And some we did not discuss, like roll-ups and all. We'll discuss on Monday. And if you guys have any questions on the other fields, you have tomorrow to try and do it and get my questions on Monday. We can discuss them. Okay. Sounds good. The assignment
All
is
right, thank
available
you.
on your link that I have shared. You can get started. And you guys just think about these two calculs tonight, try them out tomorrow. You have questions, come back, we'll research and we'll figure out. Okay. Awesome. You guys have a excellent weekend and good practicing.
Thank you, Krishna.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Krishna.